I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle. Welcome tonight, and thanks for joining us in Washington. Shooting blanks. That's the focus of tonight's angle. What does it take to get fired in this administration?
Biden administration official is no longer employed by the Biden administration after allegedly getting caught stealing luggage from not one, but two different airports. Sam Brinton was responsible for nuclear fuel and radioactive waste at the Department of Energy. Brinton identifies as non-binary and gender fluid.
Oh, does he? Talk about holding the bar really high. You know he'd still be there if they didn't have that security footage, by the way. Well, for this administration, it's failure as far as the eye can see, yet zero accountability, none. Still no senior officials, no cabinet official fired. Not Alejandro let 'em all in Mayorkas at DHS. Not leave it to Pete Buttigieg at the Department of Transportation. Not the queen of transitory inflation, Janet Yellen at Treasury. So the only logical conclusion at this point can be that America's decline is their agenda. Now, Biden's balloon fiasco was a national embarrassment for the United States at every turn, and it reminds us that we really don't have military leaders who are looking out for us. Even when Generals Austin and Milley blew the Afghanistan withdrawal, which led to the deaths of 13 service members, they still kept their jobs.
The intel assessments had two basic things, in my view, was the scale and scope plus the speed. All the intel assessments, all of us, got that wrong. There's no question about it. That was a swing and a miss on the intel assessment.
Oh, swing and a miss. Forget it now. In no other professional setting would this be conceivable. But at the top levels of our Defense Department, they protect their own. And then they move on to the next debacle, and then they demand that you support them unconditionally.
War has evolved over the last 11 months, but the mission under General Austin's leadership, under Secretary Austin's leadership, has remained the same. As much as it takes, for as long as it takes.
This isn't just about Ukraine's security. It's about the world that we want our children and grandchildren to inherit.
Oh, the world? Well, under their lame leadership, we're creating a world where China doesn't just control all of Asia. It's making gains in our own hemisphere, including right here in the United States. You see, China's serious about its plans for domination and control. Meanwhile, Biden's chairman of the Joint Chiefs spends inordinate amounts of time promoting a woke agenda within his own ranks.
On the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand. And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
Bet he never gets so indignant with the Chinese, though. Like before and after the 2020 election, when he called to check in with his Chinese counterpart.
Or did you not tell him that if we were going to attack, you would let him know?
As part of that conversation, I said, General Lee, there's not going to be a war. I said, hell, General Lee, I'll probably give you a call, but we're not going to attack you.
We know that the CCP doesn't fear them or even respect them. Now, let's remember that the poison of critical race theory is being taught at our military academies today. And then there was their needless and damaging vax mandates in the military. They were only recently dropped, a tacit admission of failure. And now, for all the world to see, the Pentagon looks foolish and weak. Rather than an active defender of the American interest, for days our military kind of played the role of a passive observer, as China just brazenly sucked up information about our most sensitive military installations.
You leave it up to the experts, they make the decision, and then we should all abide by it. Let the experts in this business of defense do their jobs.
He does realize we don't live in a military dictatorship, right? I don't know. Well, top military brass, of course, argued that we should do nothing to stop the balloon.
It was my assessment that this balloon did not present a physical military threat to North America. This is under my NORAD hat. And therefore, I could not take immediate action because it was not demonstrating hostile act or hostile intent.
But like Maverick in Top Gun, Biden says he always wanted to shoot it down.
Once it came over to into the United States from Canada, I told the Defense Department I wanted to shoot it down as soon as it was appropriate.
Does this change?
They concluded we should not shoot it down over land. It was not a serious threat, and we should wait till it got across the water.
What seems obvious is that the Biden people had wanted to keep the entire thing secret and hoped that the balloon fiasco would literally blow over. They wanted nothing to interfere with Secretary Blinken's plan to beg President Xi for more engagement. Please, sir, don't break off relations with us. We want to get closer to you. But the truth came out, didn't it? Since last week, the PR folks at the Pentagon, who appear to be the only competent people on the staff there, have been engaged in a flat spin of desperation.
We believe we mitigated the intelligence capability of the balloon, at the same time increasing and improving our ability to collect intelligence and information from it.
Well, at least one former Democrat Secretary of Defense isn't buying this.
The White House has said that a lot of the information the Chinese might have wanted were scrambled. They didn't get much of anything. Do you believe that?
If they've got a balloon that's hovering over a military airbase or a missile airbase and gathering intelligence or gathering signals, you have to assume that if it was an intelligence gathering mission, that they were gathering important information. And if we want to protect our national security, we have to make damn sure that our adversaries don't get access to that kind of information.
Never thought I'd quote Leon Panetta on the show, and of course the administration even claimed that 3 different Chinese balloons flew over America during the Trump administration. Well, more on that claim with former Trump National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien later in the show. But bottom line, no moderately well-informed person believes our Pentagon anymore. Now, what's the most likely scenario? Think about it for a moment. That Milley and Austin outsmarted the Chinese? Or that their pals in the CCP outsmarted them? I think we all know the answer. The truth is, this administration would not care if 1,000 balloons from China spied on us. Just like they don't care about the people who are being murdered in China, or the fentanyl that China is sending to poison and kill our people, or the way China crushed freedom in Hong Kong, or the way China is building the strongest military in the world. They don't care about how China uses TikTok to steal users' data, or how China infiltrates our universities, or how it's buying up food companies, real estate, farmland. So they certainly don't care about a balloon. They're just worried about the political fallout going into 2024. For this White House, the policy is never wrong. It's just the messaging. Because it's obvious that their primary goal is to protect their relationship with China. Well, the Angle then is not going to bother trying to persuade the Biden people anymore. So this one's for the Hill Republicans. Now, back in 2006, if you're listening to me on Fox or on the radio, I was warning you that the public, I could hear it from my listeners, they were turning against the war in Iraq. And I'm warning you now, the GOP electorate and soon the Democrats, they love our troops, but they've had it with this Pentagon. Milley and Austin are either incapable or unwilling of safeguarding our national interests. And eventually, the voters will have their way. We pulled out of Vietnam. We pulled out of Iraq. We pulled out of Afghanistan. And if you're a Republican and you're really going to believe in the massive defense budget we have today, you better get on the phone. You better call Biden's new chief of staff, and you better tell him that you will not be able to keep writing blank checks for the Pentagon unless some real changes are made. So no more money for woke nonsense. No more tolerating incompetence. And that's the Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.